breaking news now on the future of Thames Water. Let's bring in our city editor, Mark Kleiman. Mark, what are you hearing?
Yeah, some significant news today, Gareth, about the future of Britain's biggest water company. Thames Water has been battling for months now to secure a private sector rescue deal led by its creditors. It's drowning under close to £20 billion of debt. Thames Water serves about a quarter of the UK's population. It has 16 million customers. What I can reveal exclusively today is that the government is stepping up contingency planning for the collapse of Thames Water in case that private sector rescue deal fails to materialise. Now, what I understand is that the government has drafted in insolvency practitioners from a firm called FTI Consulting to advise on something called a special administration regime for Thames. Now, this is a process which has only been tested once before, when the energy retailer Bulb collapsed in 2021. Thames Water is a much bigger and more complex company, and in the statement issued to me this morning, the Department for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs said that the government will always act in the national interest on these issues. The company remains financially stable, but we have stepped up our preparations and stand ready for all eventualities, including applying for a special administration regime if that were to become necessary. So the key thing to reiterate here, as we've been saying for months about the fate of Thames Water, is that even if the company were to collapse into insolvency proceedings, its customers would continue to receive their water and wastewater services as normal. Unfortunately for taxpayers, if it were to collapse, it would put the government on the hook for potentially tens of billions of pounds of bailout costs, which would be a major headache for Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, at a time when the public finances are already severely constrained. I should also point out that the fact that this firm, FTI Consulting, has been hired to advise on contingency planning doesn't necessarily mean that Thames Water will fall into insolvency proceedings. Discussions are continuing between its biggest group of creditors and the regulator Ofwat about a private sector rescue deal, and we would expect to hear more on the fate of those discussions in the coming weeks. But nevertheless, an important milestone, an important staging post today in determining the fate of Britain's biggest water company.
All of that considered, Mark, how do you think this announcement, this news, will be received by those potential private creditors? Will they look at this and go, this is just kind of par for the course, this is the government doing what it should do just to have that contingency in place, or will this put an extra element of doubt in their minds? Yeah,
I think it's a really good question. I think that the sense that I get is that the creditors who have been in discussions with Ofwat and with Thames Water for several months now have been expecting the standby appointment of special administrators as part of the government's contingency planning. There are some key dates coming up in the potential rescue of Thames Water, including in October, when Thames Water has to decide whether to appeal to the Competition and Markets Authority against Ofwat's determination on its spending plans for the next 5 years. By then, we should know whether these talks between the creditors and Ofwat have reached a successful conclusion, and if they haven't by that point, the future of Thames as a solvent standalone company will look incredibly bleak.
Mark Kleiman joining us from our Westminster studio. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.